So here is some issues that I'm having with the carnivore diet. I did do a little bit of short, thinking maybe some people see the shorts and that they can come on. I don't know if I'll get that listed, and it kind of helped me out here a little bit. So one of my issues is I'm going back on for 90 days, and even with the 3 days that I've mostly been eating only meat, I lose weight. I feel like too quickly, and I looked up, am I eating enough meat? Because I'm eating, for most of the time, a little more than a pound. That's a lot of meat, and maybe it's because I'm intermittent fasting as well. Like, I don't eat until after 1 now. I've made this a habit. It's really helped me. We call it intermittent fasting, right? But technically it's just that I removed all the extra meals that has become normal in our society. More productive without having to chop up my days with all these anyway. The issue with the carnivore diet is the quick, and at this point, if you can't tell, losing too much weight. Well, maybe you can help me. Do I add way more meat? Because what I do is after 1, anytime after 1, I can go ahead and make myself a big old steak. I can make go ahead and cook a whole, like a little bit more than a pound of hamburger, a little bit more than a pound. And I pretty much eat all of that. I do share a little bit with the cats, but I looked it up and that should be around 1,100 calories according to what I looked up. And that should be plenty for me because I'm not doing anything too rigorous. I do take walks once in a while, but ultimately, because I'm an artist, I'm sitting down and working on art. I'm very stationary, okay? My issue is I really don't want to go down to the high school weight of being 5'7" and 110 pounds, because I've seen photos of me back then and I was kind of like, really? Like, I never felt that small, but I was really skinny, okay? It was not necessarily healthy looking unless you kind of like borderline anorexic looking, but it's just not healthy looking to me, okay? I also suffer from depression. Well, when I go back onto meat, not only does inflammation go down, I feel like I can handle things. I don't get as depressed and overwhelmed. But if I go on sugar and I go on starches or anything with processed food, I literally start battling mentally. Like, I don't feel right, everything feels off. I start to, and I'm just being honest with you, right? That there's an emotional, I can see where a lot in my life I would hit emotional or depression walls because I always ate food that was provided to us in the stores, that some of it is even illegal in other countries because of what's in it. And then when I really started finding some of these things out and what's in them and all this processed stuff, I realized that because you are what you eat, I really believe that it's what you put in, right? Now I can directly, fasting on meat and going carnivore like I did, and even doing little things like a little bit of sugar, like my donut. See, I was having donut day. I was having Thursdays is my donut day, and sometimes I would have it on Thursday, but then I would started kind of adding a little bit more, and it's just like sugar is so addicting. It really is like it is like a drug, because and I've been watching videos on why that is, that you just go a little more or whatever. Meat, at least you know you're eating organic or grass-fed meats or whatever. And I'm wondering if I have to, my issue is I'm wondering if I have to still keep that a little more open. And mostly I gotta stay away from processed, and I know that. But keep it a little bit more open, like do throw some fruit in there. The other night I had a banana with some cinnamon on it and stuff, because it was actually cinnamon sugar, okay? Because the issue is right away, only after 3 days, I got off track, I apologize. Only after 3 days, I could feel how much less fat I had on my stomach. Like, you can just feel it, you know what I mean? You're like, I'm losing the little bit of storage, which is fine. That's kind of what you want, right? But again, I hope you can see I'm relatively, I'm small, and that I was getting big. That's why I went on the carnivore diet in the first place, and I was just amazed, pleasantly surprised. But what really amazed me was how my attitude was changing. What really amazed me was my psychology that was changing. Being in an extremely stressful environment, which I don't like anyway, but all of a sudden there's days when I could really handle it. And versus when I'm on a processed food or sugar, or I'm eating lots of treats, I noticed I get emotional. I don't mean like, I just mean I noticed, you notice that it's like, why am I so depressed, or why am I not handling this, and why do I just want to, walk off, and why, and then it's like you have to connect the dots. And when I'm connecting the dots to my diet, that what have I been eating for the last week, what I've been eating for the last 3 days, and like, for instance, an amazing gift, and it's wonderful. For instance, as a gift, some cheesecake came home, and I love cheesecake, and so I like, okay, well, it's just one cheesecake. No, I didn't eat the whole thing myself. We have actually a lot left. It was just, I had some for a few days in a row, and this just flared up. Now, was it because of that? And I also noticed my emotions. I can't help but think it was because of things like that. And of course there is quite a bit of stuff in there, but it's not like it was a homemade cheesecake. So where I'm having issues with the carnivore is, and what I'm wondering is 1,100 calories enough for being very sedentary? Okay, like, yeah, I go walk around the parks and stuff like that, do a little exercise, clean the backyard, little things, but for the most part I'm sitting down doing art for like many hours. I need to be able to maintain the weight. I would like to stay around 120, if not a little bit more, and not go down 110 or less. That's what I would like to do. Maybe I need to try 1,500 calories of meat a day. But anyway, after one, when I start eating and I do the meat, I do little snacking from that point on, whether it's just a little bit of cinnamon when I'm cleaning my teeth. And it still hasn't been, even when I've added a little bit more snacks like some fruit, it's still, and again, I know that triggers the sugar urge, but I'm trying to make sure the sugars are at least nutrients my body can break down, right? Because sometimes if I have an apple at night and then I wake up the next morning, I can literally see much less like if I'm my rosacea or whatever. And so I do believe there's vitamins and vitamin C's and stuff that help. I'm concerned with like the last 3 days. It has not been 90 days, okay? And I can feel, it's easy to put the weight on, even though you put it on back on the way you don't want it put on. It's just so effective in fasting and the weight dropping off. And I feel like that's a little bit fast for me, being that I want to stay above 120 at 5'7", okay? And I don't want to go lower than that. Maybe you have some suggestions for me on what calories I should be pushing when you're only carnivore, or when you're basically 90%, if not 95% carnivore, okay? And maybe you have some suggestions for me. I would appreciate it. Leave in the comments below. Otherwise, I am still going to be doing this. Please follow the channel if you're interested in that. I do art, garden, health, and I also do outdoor adventures. Right now I'm doing some traveling because I'm looking for some land, and so we're going to be back in the car here pretty soon doing the art shows from there. Either way, if you want to join me on my adventure, follow, subscribe, and please, if what recommendations you would have. I know that the American suggestion for American diet is like 2,000 or 2,500, but you can see that most people are overweight with those recommendations, and maybe they're taking a lot more. I'm not sure. And I know it's not all about calories, it's about quality. Is it just a matter of me adding more meat? Because that's a lot of meat. I feel wonderful and completely satiated when I do a little bit more than a pound of meat. Like, I'm fine. I just snack a little bit after that, and I'm talking very little before bed. Like I said, it's too much. Right now I feel great, but I know because of the last 3 days, I'm like 3 days, and I mean, I don't know how you can tell at my age or whatever. I don't want to get too skinny. I just don't want to get too skinny. So I don't want to, I don't know. What are your suggestions? I'm rambling at this point. Have an amazing evening, and let me know. Thank you so much for the help and stuff that people have left. I'll have to come on here and make a video of me responding to people's comments, because I really do appreciate all of the great tips and the help. Have an amazing evening. Goodbye, everybody. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. The Impromptu Life is the new name for the channel for right now. The Impromptu Life. Bye.